Look, Stephen A. Smith is sort of a moderate, maybe slightly left to the center. He's not a radical. He's not a leftist. I know him. He's a friend of mine. He's been trying to explain to the Democrat Party, this is a party of non-reality. This is a party that pretends that Donald Trump didn't win the presidency and win it big. He says, I didn't even vote for Donald Trump. Although I'd reconsider, maybe, he said the Democrat Party is a foolish party. And you're promoting things people don't support, including in the black community, including among young people, and groups of people who don't normally vote Republican. You need to wake the hell up. You need to talk about the kitchen table issues. You need to talk about law and order. You need to talk about things that matter to people. You know, there was really a wonderful confrontation, not a brutal, ugly confrontation by Stephen A. Smith with Joy Behar. Look, Stephen A. Smith is sort of a moderate, maybe slightly left to the center. He's not a radical. He's not a leftist. I know him. He's a friend of mine. We don't always agree. Do I always have to agree with all my friends? No. Most of them, yes, but not all of them. 20 or more years ago, he came up to me at a radio function. I honestly didn't know who the hell he was. But apparently he would listen to me on WABC on AM in New York. And we were in the auditorium. I was sitting up in a higher seat because I never liked sitting in the front. And I'm making my way out to the aisle to walk up the steps. He runs up the step. Mark, with his Brooklyn accent. I say, yeah, I'm Stephen A. Smith, and I want you to know something. I don't always agree with you, but I love your radio show. I love your passion. In this, we're very similar, aren't we, it turns out. He's been a friend ever since. We don't socialize. I've never personally met him. I go to restaurants, but I feel like I've known him forever. Forever. We have a good time, even when we don't agree on the radio, TV, things of that sort. He's been trying to explain to the Democrat Party, this is a party of non-reality. This is a party that pretends that Donald Trump didn't win the presidency and win it big. He says, I didn't even vote for Donald Trump. Although I'd reconsider, maybe, he said the Democrat Party is a foolish party. And you're promoting things people don't support, including in the black community, including among young people, and groups of people who don't normally vote Republican. You need to wake the hell up. You need to talk about the kitchen table issues. You need to talk about law and order. You need to talk about things that matter to people. And of course, by saying those things, he's viewed as, ooh. And so there he is with The View. And this is the way it went just the other day. Go.
So Trump's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever. And he won the general election.
He's getting ready. I haven't heard this crap before, have I? Go ahead.
By less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the Electoral College vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. Yeah. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won the popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the Electoral College vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it all, 89% of the counties shifted gears. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
Well, it's a different definition of a mandate, I guess.
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
we
show
should
up.
continue to do that.
Do you think
No,
that those,
don't continue to do it.
you
Find a
think
new
that-
strategy.
But do you think those groups, the black voters, the Latino voters, and the others that you mentioned, are they going to regret it soon?
Possibly. I think so. I don't like what I'm seeing from Trump. I didn't like what I saw with Zelensky. I didn't like what I saw with a few things. But in the end,
Zelensky?
the point, I didn't like it. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. The American people, in their eyes, it wasn't about him. They were voting against what the Democrats were throwing in their direction.
Now, notice how they keep interrupting him. They don't even want to hear what he has to say. They don't even want to hear what he has to say. I don't even agree with his last point, but it's still an interesting point. They didn't vote for him. They voted against the Democrats. Look, people voted for Trump, I think more than not. But of course, we voted against the Democrats too, because they're crazy bastards, okay? So, common sense. This is why he said, I'm running on a campaign of common sense. Here's the little secret. Conservatism is common sense. That's what it is. Conservatism is built on thousands of years of tradition and experience, morality, and on and on and on. It's common sense. That's what it is. But semantics. So the point is, he's having to explain this to her. Why? Because she's a headbanger. She walks up to a wall and bangs her head against it. Walks up to another wall and bangs her head against that one. Walks up. And her whole career is based on this kind of grift. That is, to be a left-wing mouthpiece, a left-wing big mouth. He comes in there. He's not a Trump guy. He comes in there. He's not a white guy. He comes in and says, what are you talking about? You're looking at your 1.5%. He only won by 1.5%. Do you understand what he did? And you're looking at that 1.5% because you don't want to fix what you people did. And they don't listen to him. And they don't listen to others who tend to vote Democrat, who are not outright Democrats, who are more moderate. He's a moderate. And they don't listen to them because they actually think, I think I heard Sonny Hostin. What a nut job she is. I think I heard her in the background say, well, people didn't show up. But they show up or not show up. An awful lot of people did show up. What did Trump get? 77 million votes? I mean, the truth is, in 2020, his votes were record. And I do have, footnote time, what the hell did happen to those 10 to 14 million votes that showed up in the prior election? Well, they all stayed home. Really? Why would people stay home when the Democrats said this is an existential election and the Republicans said this is an existential election? They all stayed home? I'm not buying that. What happened to those votes? Where are they? Well, let's not relitigate that. One day somebody will, when many of us are dead and gone.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.